chest right in the morning.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for tuning in and watching the last sunrise. We're headed back to the United States later this afternoon. So we'll be spending the last morning watching the sunrise and then doing a little snorkeling, maybe a little swimming, eat lunch, and then head towards the airport. Be home before midnight tonight.
Hey, welcome back. I am so glad to see you. If this is your first time tuning in, I'm Erica and I'm coming to you from Crushed. In this week's video, we're going to talk about what I learned and what I would do differently. Starting from the research and planning for our vacation at the Barcelo Resort down in Riviera Maya, flying to Mexico, getting through customs, the resort, and everything that it had to include. If you like the video, consider giving me a thumbs up, maybe even subscribe, so you can see the next series of adventures that we've got going on here at Crushed. Let's just jump right into it. So during our research, I covered a couple different platforms that I used to do a cost comparison of what the resort stay would be for 7 days. I looked at the Barcelo website, I looked at military travel privileges through one of my financial institutions, and ended up going with a second financial institution that I've used multiple times during the past and that I trusted and was able to offer me all the bells and whistles that I wanted for the vacation. I ended up going with American Express Travel. For me, it was one-stop shopping. I had a budget. I didn't want to spend anything over $3,500 and I stayed under that. I even came home with extra cash. You know the resort stay is going to cost X amount, but then you've got airfare down there, any kind of transportation from the airport down to the resort and then the resort back to the airport. That could have an extra cost. And you can't forget to take care of the resort staff while you're there. Bring cash so that you can tip them whenever you have the opportunity. So flying during COVID, we had to fill out a form through Mexico's government site showing that we didn't have any symptoms of COVID within the last 14 days, what our airline and flight number was going to be. From the time of vacationing last December to now, restrictions and things you need to keep in mind have changed. And I'm so thankful that people in the community came in and was able to offer all of the different information regarding the COVID restrictions and measures that were taken either by the resort or things that you needed to do in preparation to travel to Riviera Maya and also during your stay and coming back. One of the questions that was posed by Natalie was, what was the testing like while at the resort? Someone from the community, DNA Travels, replied back to Natalie to give her insight on what to do while down at the resort. They were in Cancun in February and there was no test to enter Mexico, but to fly back to America, you had to have a negative test. It was done before they left, and DNA said that the cost was anywhere between $15 and $50. But if you notice that you have to have a negative test in order to get back into America. On the Mexico-US Embassy site, it gives exactly what is required in order to get into the country. You might have to have a certificate showing that you've been vaccinated. Also, another individual from the community mentioned Barcelo offers an antigen test for $15 US, which is also conducted on site. This is such great information, and it was so cool that the community was able to chime in and add comments to help Natalie prepare for her vacation. Another thing is also to consider, if you end up with a positive test while at the resort, more than likely you're going to have to stay longer. What backup measures do you have in place? Is somebody watching your house or taking care of your family while you're out of town? Do you have the funds in order to stay there longer? And in addition to that, you may have to adjust your flights home, and that could be an extra cost. So really take these things into consideration. Another thing that I learned, there was a lot of walking involved with this vacation. And I thought I was prepared. I thought I had great shoes. They had cushy soles. I was completely wrong. And all the walking around that we did just to learn what the resort had to offer was obviously way too much on my Lamborghinis. So the one thing that I want to suggest is making sure that you've got a really good pair of shoes for walking all over the airport, and whenever you get to your destination, you know the first thing you're going to want to do, maybe get an adult beverage and then walk around. I do not want to go through that again. I went ahead and I bought some of these Dr. Scholl's insoles. Try to do your best to be prepared. If you have any kind of limitations, take those into consideration and just really make sure that you're taking care of your body. So next time I want to make sure that I have some really good insoles in addition to great shoes. The last thing you want to do is end up with something strained or sprained like I did and then be down for about 24 hours. There's so many things to see at this resort. Another thing I learned was in regards to dining. I really want to take the opportunity next time to eat at the other restaurants that the other resorts have to offer. Jim Townsend from the community added that the French restaurant down at the Palace was really good. So the next time we visit, I definitely want to check that out. But as you know, my ultimate favorite restaurant was the taco bar. That was my favorite. So the first night that we were there, we ate at the Mexican restaurant. Their tacos are amazing. By far, the Mexican restaurant was awesome. So I would, if I could eat there every night, I would. If I could have street tacos for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I would do it. I almost want to say that the best thing was being able to try all the different tequilas while at the resort. I was a little bummed at the time of filming that the tequila store down at the Palace was closed. They do offer a tequila tasting, and they also have a giant wall right whenever you walk in on the right-hand side with a bunch of different tequilas, a bunch of different flavors and brands for you to check out while you're there. I came home and I ordered a couple different bottles from Sip Tequila. Salud! And if you want to know how I made this, go ahead and check the link below, but I'll go ahead and throw the clip in real quick. Another thing I learned was how awesome the gym and spa was. What I learned is the next time I visit, I want to go here multiple times. I don't want to just go once or twice. I want to make sure I really take advantage of how awesome the spa was. The next thing I learned was about the snorkeling. We did go snorkeling a couple different times. What I learned was to make sure that I take a banana out to the turtles. These resident turtles that live at the beach right there in front of the Palace Resort love bananas. And learning from experience, whenever you're feeding the turtles a little piece of banana, make sure you do it with an open palm so they don't accidentally catch your skin. But I promise the turtles are not aggressive at all whatsoever. They're very friendly and they're super curious.
I'll be dreaming about this till the end of time. We are young, we are free, down for the ride. Might be over tomorrow, but we got to stay forever.
Do you remember a couple videos ago where I talked about doing your research and making sure that you had the appropriate documentation whenever you're traveling outside of your home country? That is 100% something that I learned the hard way, and I don't want anyone else almost screw up like I did. Definitely make sure that your passport is current and will not expire while you're visiting outside of your home country. That's not the thing that I almost learned the hard way. Whenever you're flying to another country, you are required to fill out a customs form before you land in that country. There are two parts to that documentation. One to get into the country and another one to get out of the country. The second half of that customs form you have to keep while you're on vacation. And I do this all the time. I have something super important and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna put this in this place because I know it's safe and I know I'm going to remember where it's at. Fails me every time. So if I know that I'm going to have my passport, the next time I go, I'm going to put that documentation inside my passport and then keep that in the safe that's inside the room. And I completely forgot that I had put that customs form on the back side of my backpack. I know that there's probably more that I learned. I really wouldn't do a whole lot different, and I can't wait to go back and visit the taco bar, try more tequila, go snorkeling with the turtles, and check out the different restaurants at the other resorts. And please know, I'm not a spokesperson for Barcelo or anything like that. I hope you enjoyed this video and going through the different things that I learned and what are the things that I might do a little bit differently the next time we visit this resort. Thank you so much for tuning into Crushed. I hope that you can join me next time as we lay the foundation for all the cool adventures we've got going on this summer and towards the end of the year. Aside from the fact that I absolutely love project management and using the philosophy and the different methodology, using that decision analysis and getting out there and saying exactly what it is that you want, the biggest thing to know in anything you do is to have fun. Push the bounds of your comfort zone. Get out there, try something new, and just crush it.
Nice. It's really freaking nice. Never been this posh before. If you see this thing, you can push this button, it'll go all the way flat.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Tray.
Ooh.
Yeah. I thought the last one was fancy. This one's touchscreen.
Also, please be sure that your seats are back in their home position.